Hey Sunburst, can I come to your birthday party? Well, I don't know about that. You were very mean to me last time and I didn't really like it. We'll have to see. I'm off now. Oh, hey there, good buddies. Welcome to ArmaGEEKdon. I'm your chief. Let's go for it. Today we're going to be talking about RPGs. That's right, role-playing games. Let's go. Oh, Nelly, that's right. We are talking role-playing games today. Now, straight off the bat, this is not an in-depth look. I am not an expert. I have never played a role-playing game before. Tell a lie. Maybe 30 years ago, me and some friends tried to play the West End game Star Wars role-playing game unsuccessfully. Never done it since. Now, me and my good friends have been tabletop board gamers for many years now. I'm not talking Cluedo, Monopoly. I'm talking proper Euro heavyweight games, high complexity, big mechanics, big themes, layered strategy. So look, we're not noobs to the world of, you know, big heavyweight gaming, but we haven't really done any role playing. I think some of them have dabbled in the past, but the word came up, we need to do some role-playing game. Chief, you're the man. We want GM in that game. GM meaning Games Master, DM meaning Dungeon Master. I don't know if they're the same thing or if they're used in different ways. Again, please find my ignorance charming here because, like I say, I'm not an expert. This is not a how-to video or what you should do. Don't be coming to me for advice on RPGs just yet. I'm coming to you, the people, for advice. Hit me up in the comments. While you're there, do this thing up here. The subscribe, notify, that'll help the channel out, help us grow. Anyway, so we want to start a role-playing game. They said, Chief, you're the man to run this game. Go ahead. Now, the thinking was originally, I think some of them wanted to do Dungeons and Dragons. I did some research, done about 10 hours research here, and Dungeons and Dragons is not on my short list of 5. A few reasons for that, but I'm not going to go into them now. But suffice to say, here are the 5 that I am considering GMing, and then we'll put it to the vote with those guys to see if any of them want to play. Let's look at number 1. Okay, number 1 is Legend of the Five Rings. This has been going for quite a while, I believe. And again, what I'm saying here, I'm just picking up from tidbits off the internet. But this is quite a well-established game, 5th edition now, I believe, and this is set in feudal Japan. The theme and the setting is key here. You know, it's a deep game and lots of complexity. And your characters, you're all going to be playing kind of molds on a samurai, I guess. You might be monks or ronin or whatever, things like that. But your character is the key. There's lots of character development, I'm led to believe, and tinkering and modifying and tweaking your character, which will suit some of the players that we've got in our party, definitely. You're going to be, you know, there's intrigue, there's scheming, politics, and of course there is monster hunting, because this is the mythology of that era in Japan's culture, where there were goblins and demons and spectres and monsters and things like that. So there's plenty of combat, there's one-on-one duels, honor system and all that kind of stuff. Looks to me, love this setting, love this theme. However, couple of barriers to entry here. Number 1 is the core rulebook in the UK. I can't find it for less than like £60. That is a lot of money. However, if I do buy it, it's kind of a nice coffee table book to look through and flick. The pictures are lovely. So even if I don't play the game, it's going to be nice book to have. There is a starter set, but that has, I believe, a stripped down version of the rules. Preset characters, there's no character generation. Does come with the custom dice you need, and also an adventure as well. So that's a possibility. I'm not too sure. Maybe a little bit more research to go into that one, but that is option 1. Okay, number 2, this is Alien RPG. Now this is set in the same world as the movies, so you kind of know what to expect. However, straight off the bat, I know what some people are thinking. Listen, every time an alien is going to pop up, and it's going to be the same again. If I see an egg, I'm not going to go over to it. I know what's going to happen. Now, the clever thing here is there's 2 different modes. There is cinematic mode, which is kind of like a one-shot, where it can be played in one session, you know, maybe 3 or 4 hours. If we're playing 2-hour sessions, we might split it over 2 sessions personally for our group. But this is very much the ratcheting the tension up to, you know, 11, and you know, maybe comes with pre-built characters and not everyone might survive, but apparently the gameplay and the route to the climax is really satisfying. You know, that's movie element type stuff. Then obviously you've got your normal campaign played over weeks, months, you know, years, where you explore this alien universe, and there aren't just the xenomorphs, there are other alien species in here as well, I believe, and the xenomorph is not going to pop up every single week, every single session you play, and the benefit there is when it does pop up, you know, you are going to be scared shitless. You know, when this thing is hissing and creeping around behind you, that is when you know you're in trouble. There are synthetics that you can play as. There's also a real cool mechanic with stress dice. So when you're making a roll to see if you can, you know, open, blowtorch that door open, you might want to roll some extra dice. However, if you roll those extra dice and you get ones, then bad stuff's going to happen. So there's a stress element as well. Rulebook looks really cool. I'm thinking about getting this anyway just to read it and get some more backstory. There's a starter set and there is a core rulebook as well. So I actually really want to have a go at this and have a dig into this. Looks stripped back a little bit in some of the rules, which is good for us first time RPGers, but I really want to try this one out. Okay, number 3 on my list, Vaesen or Vaesen, or apologies to Swedish viewers out there if I got that wrong, but this is a investigative horror game, I think is probably the best way to describe it, set in 19th century Sweden. You and your group are looking to investigate things that go bump in the night. You know, we're talking about all fairy tale kind of creatures and inhabitants, and they can't be beaten by hacking and slashing and shooting at them. You know, you've got to trick them, or, you know, splash holy water on them, or walk backwards through a clover field, or do crazy things. You know, it's very much a mystery, you know, investigation game. But there is obviously combat in it as well. It is an RPG with monsters to fight, hunt and kill. And you get a headquarters as well, a base of operations for your team, which you can explore and stuff like that, which is quite cool. Rules look fairly simple-ish on the surface of it, but obviously there is depth there. You have characters with stat sheets and you're making rolls, things like that. The book looks gorgeous. The art looks gorgeous. Just, you know, there's full character pages about all of the creatures in here and ways that the GM can use them, and it looks quite friendly for a GM perspective. This one is really appealing to me. It's got a kind of Hellboyish vibe to it, and I'm a big Hellboy fan, got loads of comics, and I feel like I could use a lot of that as inspiration for creating scenarios. This one is ticking a lot of boxes for me. Okay, number 4, and this is Blades in the Dark. I think it's a newish game, like 2 or 3 years old, but I believe on RPG Geek it's ranked as the second highest rated role-playing game there is out there. Call of Cthulhu, I think, is number 1. But yeah, this is set in a very kind of steampunky, gloom punk, is that a word? You know what I'm talking about. It's kind of dirty, dusty city. Doskvol is the city, and you form a crew and you're going on scores. There's like 30 or 40 other crews in this area, each with their own allegiances, alliances and rivalries, and you've got to set up these heists, these capers, or you want revenge or things like that. And yeah, it looks very interesting. You know, it's obviously ranked number 2 for a reason. And there's a cool mechanic in there called flashbacks. So, you know, you might be sneaking in somewhere and a guard has, you know, spotted you, you've caught his eye, and, you know, shit's about to go down, troubles are brewing. Then you say flashback, and, you know, the player narrates a flashback, and he says, last week I saw this guard down the pub, I slipped him a bit of cash money that, you know, if he next saw me on a heist or whatever, he's going to turn a blind eye. But that's going to create stress in the character, and that's going to build up. So the more flashback you use to get yourself out, you know, Deus Ex Machina, to get yourself out of trouble, that's going to come back with consequences in the long term. And here's one thing that does, or 2 things that kind of worry me a little bit is, one, not necessarily worries me, but trying to find a hard copy of this over in the UK is a bit tricky. I can get the PDF, but who wants to be reading a screen while you're trying to play a game? So I'd rather have the book in front of me. So if I can get a copy of this book, I will. It's quite meaty. It looks like about 350, 360 pages, which is a lot to digest. especially for a first timer. The other thing is, it feels like the GM has a lot to do, a lot to make up, if you will, because I don't think it's GM is telling a story and the players are on that journey having to fight or combat or do things that the GM's putting in their way. Whereas here, it's almost like the players make up, you know, we want to go to this area of the docks and we want to harass Billy Jim Bob for his protection money. Then we want to go to the warehouse. Then all of a sudden the GM's got to make up this warehouse and make up this stuff. So I think maybe it's a collaborative thing between player and GM, but again, until I've, you know, you can watch reviews and read reviews online, but if you've never experienced doing role playing before, I think you need that book in front of you to read it through and try and understand, which is what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to buy the books maybe for all 5 of these, digest them all, and then determine which one is for me and which one the group wants to play. Okay, number 5, and this is the only fantasy sword and sorcery on my shortlist, and this is an alternative to D&D, and it is Dungeon World. And the thing that kind of appealed to me more than D&D, which is kind of has this well codified rules, and there's just too much out there for me to digest. And I know I'll just take which parts you want, you can say that, and just don't ignore those rules or do this bit, but I don't know. I have done a lot of research, and it's not that I am just a contrarian and I'm discarding D&D, because this is clearly a great game and it's been around for what, 40 plus years, so that must be the case. But that doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, Coke is the #1 selling soft drink, but I prefer many other smaller independent colas, so let's take a look at them instead. But yeah, Dungeon World, from what I'm led to believe, everything the player needs to know is on the character sheet right in front of them. You know, they simply narrate what they want to do. The games master, they roll some dice, and the games master tells them whether they succeeded, partially succeeded, or failed. You know, and you go from there. You choose another action. Very heavily relies on narrative over crunchy number rolling to work out step by step exactly what's happened. So this one probably needs a good group of players who are going to collaborate and talk and really pitch in and get involved in their characters. You know, you get experience points, so you can level up your characters and things like that. I think from what I've read, potentially easier to get used to, and from a GM's point of view, I hear that, you know, even if the game peters out after, you know, 4 or 5 sessions and you don't decide not to come back to it, that from a GM's point of view, there's a lot to learn in this book and this game that's going to serve you well for other games that you might play. So this is the sword and sorcery option on my list. So there we have it, 5 options for the chief to GM and his party to get involved in playing. I'm going to order some of these books, like I've said, read the rules, see what really gels with me and what I want to play. Of course, when I show this, or when I get the players to watch this, they might say, Chief, we don't want to play any of those games. We just want to play this one. Well, hey, then I guess we go from there. But let me know in the comments if you have done RPGs yourself before and you've got any advice. Have the games I've chosen, have you played them? Do you like them? Are there any other suggestions for games that first timers might want to try? As always, thanks for supporting the show, and I'll catch you down the road.